Hey Jews around there, gaming here, and welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial video I'm going to show you how to make Peggy E from Monopoly Go as a Mii character. Okay, before we get into this video, make sure to pause the video at some point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Peggy E like so, and then after that I'm going to go on to the Mii version of him. Once you're on this page, I recommend going for this face on the second row. Okay, so after you've done that, go straight to skin colour, which is going to be the default one for Peggy E. I recommend pausing the video for about 4 minutes, I recommend. Okay, so after you've done that, go on to eyebrows. Once you clicked on eyebrows, you go straight to the bottom where it says no eyebrows, and I recommend possibly 4 minutes for this one, so pause this video for 4 minutes, okay? Okay, so after you've done that, go on to hairstyle. And then I recommend going for the one that makes him kind of bald. So I recommend possibly 4 minutes for this section. So please pause the video for about 4 minutes, okay? Okay, so after you've done that, go on to eyes. And I've selected these little tiny ones for this bit. So I recommend pausing this video for about 4 minutes for this section. After you've done that, go on to opposition, and this is what it's looking like currently, but if you feel like you need a bit more time on this section, I recommend probably more than 5 minutes max, so pause the video for about 5 minutes, I would say. But after you've done the opposition, I recommend keeping the colour, the eye colour the same as the default for now. Okay, so after you've done that, the next step would be going on to the nose section. And then I've selected this triangle nose, but just to hide underneath the mouth. I would recommend around 1 minute on this section, so make sure to pause the video for about 1 minute max. Well, after you selected the nose, go on to opposition. So with this opposition, it's a little bit different because you haven't got too much you've got to kind of figure out. So I recommend probably 2 minutes for this section. So pause the video for 2 minutes. Okay, so after you've done that, go on to mouth, and this is the one I kind of gone with because I was kind of trying to match the outcome of what Peggy E would actually look like. So I recommend for this section probably 4 minutes because sometimes there's so much like mouth types it can get confusing at times. Well, after you've done that, go on to opposition. So there's definitely like 3 kind of different oppositions you've got to like work with in a way. So I recommend probably around 3 to 4 minutes maximum. If you want to pause the video for about that same quarter, so I won't mind. Okay, so after you've done this part, the colour of the actual face type won't change, so you might want to like, stick it as it is for now. Okay, so after you've done that, go on to body, because obviously we've got to see how tall Peggy E is going to be, and that's the opposition. If you guys want to pause at this point, I recommend it. Okay, so after you've done that, go on to favourite colour, which is going to be this baby blue colour. So that's what Peggy is going to be like. Okay, so after you've done that, I recommend typing in his name, which is Peggy E, of course, on the screen. I recommend probably around 5 minutes for this bit, just in case. Well, in this footage, I'm actually typing in Peggy E as you speak, so if you didn't get a chance to pause, you can always pause about this part if you wanted to. Okay, so after you've done that, go on to gender, and his gender is male, so I recommend double checking before moving to the next part, okay? Make sure to click on done button, and then after that, click on makeup, like so, and it'll bring me to this page. Once you're in the makeup section, go onto eyes and then go scroll down till you find some square kind of eyes to go on top. This is what I kind of do, but obviously there's a lot of like oppositions to sort out and also a lot of other things you can do. But what I recommend doing is when it comes to, pausing the video, I recommend pausing at this part, especially if you try to get everything right. I recommend that. Okay, so after you've done that, go on to other, and then go on to foundation, and the one that I've selected is this kind of like turquoisey or light turquoise kind of blue colour for the foundation for Peggy E. I recommend pausing the video about this time. Okay, so after you've done that, go on to sticker. Okay, so once you're in the sticker section, I recommend scrolling down till you find like a square kind of shape. But this is going to be like probably the actual face of Peggy E. And I've also adjusted the opposition to what it's going to look like. And then after that, I'm going to change the colour to a lightish kind of yellowy green, I would recommend. But I recommend pausing for this section probably about 15 minutes just in case it's hard to get the opposition where you want it to be. Okay, so after you've done that, what you're going to do is go back into Add Makeup and look for the same square, but this time you're going to try and expand the actual square itself for the actual face. But I think you actually repeat this probably a couple of times, I recommend. So what I recommend you kind of doing is repeating the process each time, but you've got to make sure it fits in like a full like rectangle kind of shape. So it's kind of like, it looks like a square, but it's kind of like a bit like a rectangle shape, I recommend. So I'm kind of thinking to myself that you might want to pause to make sure it all lines up to be an actual like rectangle, if that makes sense. Make sure to repeat the process underneath as well so you can fill the whole rectangle up a little bit. I recommend doing that. Your rectangle will look something like this. Okay, so after you've done that, what you're going to do next will be doing exactly kind of the same thing, but this time you're going to select a different kind of piece. This time looking for like a line like this. What you're going to do, you're going to probably repeat this probably up to roughly 5 times, so you can see like a bit of a robot kind of illusion going on, because that's what Peggy E kind of looks like by looking at his actual reference. So what I recommend doing is repeating this process until you get up to like around 5 kind of lines in between, and then after you kind of done that, then the next part will be quite simple. Okay, so after you've done that, what you're going to do is go back into stickers, and this time you're going to look for a different shape that's supposed to be like one of these like long like sticks sort of things. But obviously they're going to be the same colour as, of course, the inside of where the lines are. They're going to be the same colour of white, and I think this is kind of like the outline of the actual box of course, the actual face of the robot. So I think for this one, it's kind of like you've got to repeat it, and also you have to rotate it a few times to fill up the whole kind of thing, but on the outside. And then of course after you've done that, you would actually try and make the actual face look more like rectangular afterwards. So what I recommend doing is kind of like pause and then do it, and then pause then do it again, because I recommend doing that for each time. Okay, so after that, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so after you've done that, what we're going to do this time is do the outside, but it's going to make it rectangular. So we're going to try and match the foundation colour, which is going to be roughly, it's going to be like a turquoise kind of colour to go with it. So that's what we're going to try and do. But obviously you've got to repeat this probably a couple of times. It's kind of the same process as you've done before, but you're going to have to rotate it a couple of times. But I recommend pausing in between if you want to, because sometimes these things can go a little bit quicker than expected. And sometimes all of it can be a little bit complicated, but if you're like ready to like continue with it and that stuff, I recommend pausing for probably around like 15 to 20 minutes maximum. As you can see, I've repeated it a few times and it's getting close to being like a rectangular shape, which is what we're trying to aim for. Then of course, after you go copy and then of course rotate it a few times, you're gonna get like the same kind of outcome, but it's gonna look quite cool. So I recommend keep like doing that, and then you would get something a little bit like this. But obviously, if you've got like little gaps, I recommend rotating it so you can try and hide the remaining gaps, so you can kind of get like the rectangle like so. And obviously do it exactly the same on the other side, but you press the X button to get it into shape. And there you have it. Okay, so after you've done that, what we're going to do this time round is that we're going to go back onto stickers and we're going to look for this kind of like half circle kind of shape, but this is going to be for the ears, by the way, because obviously not some robots have different formed ears compared to others. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of like copy it over afterwards, but I'm going to go for this kind of like, it's kind of like a lightish kind of grey but close to the colour white, which is what I'm going to go for. But I'm also going to copy it over so I can then do it for the other side. But what I recommend doing for this part, I probably recommend pausing it for about roughly 5 minutes max, just in case. So what you're going to do this time, you're going to copy the same kind of circle, but obviously this is going to be kind of like for the hat, but it could possibly assemble a little bit of the part of a light bulb, which is what I'm going to try and get. Because obviously not some robots have light bulbs, some have different accessories, some of them have antennae, but you never know. Okay, so after you've done that, what I recommend doing is going back onto add makeup and you're looking for like a circle. But this is kind of like the little lighting thing, so you're going to have like little lights on the side of the head, which is what we're trying to do. But the good news is you have to repeat this for like probably just only 3 times, so it's kind of just repeating the same circle each time. I would recommend pausing for this section just in case it's a little bit fiddly sometimes. And this is what it should look like. Okay, so what you're going to do is go back into add makeup once again, but this time we're doing the actual light bulbs, so we're going to go for a different kind of shape, which is this kind of like semi-oval kind of shape, which is what we're going to try and do. But the idea is we're going to make it a little bit bigger with the size, like so, then move it a little bit, so it's just above the lights really. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make it approximately the same kind of colour as the lights, but I recommend pausing halfway through. Okay, so after you've done that, what we're going to do this time is do exactly the same thing, but we're looking for kind of like a light bulb kind of thing, so we're going to go for this kind of like unibrow kind of shape. And this is going to be assembled kind of a little bit of the lighting inside the light bulb. So what I've done is I've rotated it, moved it a bit, and then of course what I've done is I've made it the colour white, so I recommend probably around 5 minutes for this section. Okay, so after we've done that, we're going to move on to mask, and this time we're going to try and give Peggy E more of like a green kind of mouth like he does in the actual game, because the only one that I actually selected was the one that you can get on the actual Me Creator thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this lip kind of sticker that we're going to put over the top, and like so. Then what we're going to do, we're going to try and match the colour with the eyes. So that's the kind of aim for this sort of part. But I would recommend probably around 5 to 10 minutes on this section. Okay, so after you've done that, go on to add makeup. Then we're looking for this butterfly kind of shape. So what we're going to try and do, we're going to try and block out the remainder bits that we don't need. This is kind of key. What all you can see is like the nose that I would have had originally. What you're going to do is you're going to go on to matching the colour with the eyes once again, and there you have it. So I recommend pausing for about 5 to 10 minutes max on this section. Okay, so after you've done that, then what we're going to do is just going to come straight back out, and there you have it. You got yourself Peggy E. Make sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more gaming content. I'll see you guys in the next one. So bye.